Welcome back to Level Up with Lori, where I talk a little bit about life, a little bit about business, and every single thing in between, where I share strategy and where I hope to shift your perspective and the way that you show up in the world. Because at the end of the day, what I really truly believe the world needs more of is the magic that every single one of us has inside of us. So sit back, relax, enjoy the episode, and I will see you on the other side. Hey, welcome back to another episode of Level Up with Lori. You guys, I'm so happy that you are here today. We are continuing on with our leadership series, which we have been getting rave reviews on. And I am so happy that you guys are loving it. And you know what? I want to hear from you. Tell me the leaders that you want me to interview on the podcast. Let me know the topics that you want us to dig into. I am all ears. Ultimately, my biggest purpose behind this podcast is to give you a resource for your business, to help you take steps forward in the business, to teach you some stuff, and to have a little bit of fun, introduce you to some new people, some new ideas, some new business strategies. And so it's easier for me to do that when I'm hearing for you, what you are loving, what you want to hear. So I'm all ears. Shoot me a message anytime or tag me over on the socials. I'm Lori Eldridge Irvin over on Facebook, and I am at Lori Irvin Coaching over on Instagram. So in this episode, I sit down with Jane Doucette. And actually, it's really timely that we are launching the episode this week, because this weekend, I am actually a guest keynote speaker at the She's Got Leggz conference. This is the second time that I am speaking at their conference. I spoke about 3 years ago, and their company has absolutely exploded. I remember the very first, maybe it was 4 years ago even, I'm not 100% sure, but it was in a tiny room. It was really quaint. The way, we were super close. The women were amazing, and they're expecting, record-breaking numbers of attendance. And I have to tell you, I mean, as I record this, I'm not super duper nervous because it's still 4 weeks ahead, but I know that when you are listening to this, there will literally be butterflies in my stomach because I'm excited and because I'm nervous, right? It's stepping up onto a stage is definitely where I desire to be, but it's also a totally new, well, not totally new. I suppose I've done it for my own company, a couple other companies and all that good stuff. And it's, what dreams are made of, but it's definitely something that I'm really excited and nervous about at the same time. So if you're listening to this, send me a silent prayer and let this be your reminder that you can do hard things along the path to your dreams, right? And that every single path begins with a single step. And even if that step feels a little bit wobbly and your knees are shaken, you can do it. Okay, so you're gonna love this episode. Jane has actually been in network marketing for more than 30 years, always in the fashion industry, and she's changed companies. And she's only been with She's Got Leggz, I believe, a little bit over 2.5 years, but she's risen in her leadership in this company really quickly. And through a pandemic and having to learn to build an online business. And then we chat a little bit about vendor events too, which feels like a really relevant topic right now, especially throughout the summer and then heading into the fall and the holiday season. These are going to be a strategy that you want to implement into your business, not just with sales in mind. And Jane and I talk about this in this episode because it's really not manage your expectations when you go into these events and know what your goals are inside these events. For me, it's audience, it's awareness, it's growth. And if I make enough to cover my own table, as I say in this episode, I'm feeling good. But yeah, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about connecting with your team and helping other leaders to rise, and just a lot of really good little nuggets in here. So have fun, enjoy. As always, if you love this episode, please share it with your team, share it on the socials, tag me, I'll give you some love back. As always, I love you and I appreciate you. And I will, I hope you enjoy this episode, and I will see you next week inside the next one. Okay. I'm so excited to be here live with Jane Doucette from She's Got Leggz. Jane, welcome to the podcast. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for the invitation, Lori.
Oh, absolutely. When I was speaking to head office, I said, can you give me somebody that you would recommend that is an incredible leader, but also shows up on social media? And your name was top of mind.
Oh, that's
Always,
wonderful.
always nice to know that you're thought of, right?
It is. Yeah, that's wonderful.
Exactly. Okay, so let's just like start by kicking things off and you telling us a little bit about your journey in network marketing, where you started, why you started, how you started, all the good stuff.
Well, believe it or not, I started in 92. So it's been 30 years this year.
That's amazing.
I know. I can't believe the time has really flown by, and I remained in fashion throughout my whole entire career with direct sales. So I really branded myself there. But when I started, I had no idea or intention that I would be here this long, really. I got in it because I love fashion. A friend of mine said, you should try this. I think you'd be really good at it. And my only fear was fear. I didn't have the self-confidence, right?
Yeah.
And I thought, oh my gosh, I need to give a presentation. I can't do that. But I guess my love of the fashion it overpowered my fear in lots of ways until I actually signed, right?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
so, and I thought, I could probably do this. I could do it in small groups until I get more comfortable. And then I can talk about fashion and all that stuff. So I thought I'll just focus on the fashion.
No, and I know the listeners can't actually see you, but I can already see you're a walking fashion billboard just by like looking at your outfit today. It's amazing.
Oh, thank you. It's just, I just love color, love fabric and fashion, always have.
Mhm.
So it was just kind of a natural fit for me. So so I've been mulling this over. And then I was invited to a corporate event, and that's in my city. So that's actually how I signed up. I went there just to kind of see what it was all about and see who was in it. And the next thing I knew, I was signed up.
Happens to the best of us.
So I didn't see that coming, but so I thought, oh no, what have I done? And then panic starts to set in. It's like, oh my gosh, I signed up and I don't know how to do this. And the gal that took me, her leader was there, and one of the things that really stuck in my mind, other than the fear that I felt that day, it was something that she told me, because I said, I don't know how to do this. And of course, how or why would I? Because I've never been, in that situation before. But she said, here's what I want you to know. So I don't know exactly what this is called, but it's the conscious competence learning.
Okay.
And she wrote it down on a piece of paper. So she said, when you start, you're going to feel this unconscious incompetence, meaning you really have no idea what you don't know, right? And
Oh,
then
yeah,
she
that's
said,
good.
yeah, I know. And then she said, when you do your first party, you're suddenly going to be aware that of consciously incompetence. So she said, that's where you start to learn your skills. And it's only by doing, right? So you just have to jump into it and do.
I almost wonder which one is more uncomfortable. It's probably the conscious incompetence.
Yeah, really, I think it is, because I just remember my first experience, and it was with friends, and they laughed at me years later. Oh, Jane, remember when you did that first presentation? You were so nervous.
Well, and it must have been a very different way of building a business back in 1992. Like, tell us a little bit about what that looked like.
Yes, you know what? Because back then it was you were in front of people, right? You
Mhm.
went out to
Only
homes.
way, really.
There was no social media,
Yeah.
so it was face to face with people. You would make the phone calls to get your parties dated in your calendar,
There
and you
really
go
wasn't
through your
even
list.
texting back then. So you literally were picking up the phone.
Literally picking up the phone. There was no texting. And
Yeah.
they used to call it, the 500-pound phone. because it was so hard to pick up that phone and make the call because it was the fear of doing it, right?
It's like, that's a lot more of a vulnerable business model than the one that we have today.
When I think about that, and really it is, I think of how difficult it was then. And now I see just in the past 2 years, how ladies have jumped on into the business because there's so many platforms they can use to build their business
and build a network without ever leaving their homes.
Exactly. And, I know that's what I won't say a lot of, but many ladies, they like that concept.
Absolutely. And do you still do in person? Do you do a combination of both? How do you work your business model now?
So now I've been doing mostly online using Facebook for parties and or I just started doing some vendor events. So that's pretty exciting. It's nice to get out there and actually meet people face to face. And
absolutely.
So moving forward, what I want to do is get back into the party scene because, that it's really nice to see their faces. They get excited when they see the clothes, right?
And you're in fashion, and it's a much easier sell when it's in person in a lot of ways.
It is. And, they get to try it on, experience it, touch, feel. So it's really, in lots of ways, a very tactile business. But, it's also about women wanting to feel comfortable in the clothes that they've chosen. So, and some women are not happy with their bodies, so they really need help. And in a party atmosphere, their friends are going to share with them, like, oh my gosh, that looks amazing on you. You need to get that, that color is for you. And then there's the other ladies that really do need the help. They just don't know what to do.
And so do you feel like you can provide a different level of service in an in-person experience?
I do, although I have fine-tuned it during the pandemic because I hadn't worked a whole lot, because I always did in-home shows.
Yeah, but give us some of that. Like, what was that experience like transitioning into that?
Well, it was kind of funny because when I started with She's Got Leggz, we'd just gone into lockdowns here. So I thought, okay, well, that's fine. I thought, okay, well, you know what? I'll get started in a month's time. I'll just kind of take a little vacay here. And
a couple years later,
as naive as that sounds, I just thought, oh yeah, by the end of April,
it is 100%. I remember believing that too. We just need to hold on for a little bit of time, and then things will shift back.
Yes, and then by the end of April, things were actually getting worse here, and I thought, okay, this isn't going to work. And really, I had started building it a little bit online during that time, just to say, hey, this is what I'm doing. And doing some photos and so on. And it was funny because I actually started to get orders right away. So that really kind of stoked it. And I thought, oh, just wait till I get out in a month's time. This is going to be awesome.
Yes.
And then it's, reality sets in. It's like, oh no, I'm going to be doing this for a while.
100%.
But, building that audience and I always reach out to them and say, hey, if you want to talk about this, let me call you. If you want to talk about fit, what would be best for you, and so on. And sometimes it's just a matter of, can you send me a photo of yourself?
Yeah.
Right.
So you have found ways to kind of almost duplicate that in-person experience in an online realm.
Yeah, really, because, I would just say, what's your body type? Are you larger on top than bottom, or, waistline and so on? Just kind of ask those questions, and height and that kind of thing. And it worked out very well.
Good. And then, so you haven't been with She's Got Leggz for that long, and you've really risen into leadership. So tell us that story.
Yeah, that was pretty exciting because I did not think that that was going to happen in that manner, right? So when I signed up, and I was with a previous fashion company. So some of the stylists that I had, they also moved along with me, which was awesome. Absolutely. And we really started to kind of get ideas going together, right, with Zooms and so on to figure out, okay, how are we going to do this and so on. So we really got creative thinking outside the box. And it was, what was amazing is that when I was promoting my business on Facebook, online, people were curious. And I had people reaching out to me to say, hey, you know what? I want to do this. How do I do this? So that was pretty exciting as well. And even
it was really just through you creating that online awareness.
Absolutely. Like I just, I was really blown away by that, really, because I thought it was going to be difficult to do, to build
a lot of people that hold back from posting on their personal Facebook page because, it is a little bit of a limb, right? Like we feel a little bit more vulnerable on there. But what you're saying is a lot of these things wouldn't have happened if you hadn't have done that.
There's no way they could have happened because it's, Facebook is amazing for that because you can do photos and you can do lives or you can do videos and post them. So people get to see you. They get to see who you are and hearing your voice and that kind of thing, right? They start to connect.
The next thing to actually being in person is through those kinds of tactics.
It was really the next best thing. If it were back in 92, I probably would have had to put it aside for a while, unless I was doing telephone calls.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, I love that. So this team that you've grown, have you kind of almost grown together? Like, what does this look like? Tell us some tips and tricks.
So I did have my main team that we kind of moved over, but also everyone started growing very quickly. And it was just a matter of just talking about the business online, and I also did some Zooms in the beginning as well. So people could see the product and I would do Zoom parties too. So we could all get together. And that was one way really that the ladies loved to connect. Then I could show the clothes. And if they wanted to see something, I could try it on for them.
Yeah. I think like we have to almost look at the times that we're in, right? With the strategies that we use. And in the beginning of like the COVID era, I feel like we had to get online, but we also had to find these unique ways to have connection because of what like people were needing that. And you see different trends in businesses based on what's going on in the world at that time.
That's right. And, and I had used Zoom with my meetings for several years, but I thought nobody knows my customers don't know how to use Zoom, right?
Yeah.
And no, that was wrong. Everybody learned to use
Zoom. Especially now, everybody knows how to use Zoom.
I know they connected with their families, so we would do the parties and they would bring their drinks to the party or their refreshments, whatever. And we would just have a great time. And lots of times, it could last 2 hours or more just because they wanted to hang out.
Yeah. They wanted that level of connection.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what do you see going into this summer? Because again, the world is transitioning into kind of a new comfort level in different areas.
Yeah, exactly. And it's been kind of slow here. So what I'm doing more vendor events now for sure.
I really truly believe that is a really powerful strategy for this summer because people will be going to these events, will be going to these festivals, will be going to these markets because again, we are craving human experiences.
That's right. That's right. And it's, I don't know, perhaps not as, I'm going to say, I don't know if it's the right word, but intimidating for them to go into a home.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly. It's more public.
Because, when you get out of the routine of doing something, it's hard to get back into it.
It is. And there's some things they're saying that because COVID lasted for so long, there are some buyer behaviors that will never change back.
Yes. Yes.
For instance, they were saying that a company like, let's say HelloFresh or like the other food delivery services, that people, if COVID had been short, we wouldn't have gotten into the habit, but those companies will still continue to spike because people have been using these services for so long. It's no longer survival. It's now a part of a lifestyle.
That's exactly it. So it becomes a habit. So they're not as willing to perhaps come to a home. There's this hesitancy because for so many months it was like, no, you can't have anything in your home. Only the people that
That's right.
Your 10 people or whatever it would be in different areas. So I think we go back to thinking that way, and
yes.
And it's just kind of automatic. So it's going to take a while. So the vendor events are the first easy step towards.
Really
yeah,
I'm seeing a lot of resistance for women that, doing in-person events. It's interesting. This is kind of a unique thread amongst a lot of the leaders that I'm talking with, because a lot of teams have been built in COVID, right? A lot of women have entered into these businesses when these businesses were 100% online. And I'm not discounting the online. I believe we should still continue building there. But how do we open up that opportunity and teach our teams the value and the power of in-person as well?
I think we talk about that a lot in our team meetings. And for instance, sharing the vendor experience, for all of our teams, we'll say, because some will go out, they'll do a vendor event and they'll think it wasn't successful for them.
That's right. What do you define success is in those kinds of events?
Exactly. And, so what I explain is it's like, we've been doing this business for 2 years in a pandemic. So we're starting to get out there. No one has heard of us. They don't know. So we need to explain who we are, how we work, and so on. They love the leggings. So, it's getting them into the leggings, but it's also saying, we can do a home show and you can shop. I'll give you a shopping spree for free on me. How about that? So I think I'm hopeful that throughout the summer that I will start with the vendor events. I already did actually get one booking from the last vendor event. So that will start to ease into the home parties. So of course I can meet more people because it's easier in person. I think to connect with
I think
people.
The rise of the leggings really happened in vendor events.
Yes, it did. Yes, for sure.
Years ago.
Yes, that's right. And so now being able to dress women, and people are more casual. So I think connecting with them in person too, it gives me an idea of their lifestyle. I mean, I can ask that online, but you don't always get the feedback you're looking for. And to say, hey, you're looking for something for the office. Okay, how about this? Because we have some traditional looks, you don't have to go with something wild and funky, and to show them how they can dress it up. So, that's where I have the fun.
Absolutely. Okay, 2 more questions. Number 1, I'd love you to tell me what success looks like in a vendor event, and like some tips around those, because I bet there's a lot of people out there that are going to be easing into these waters. So let's chat about that.
So yes, because we just had this talk on our last Zoom because some were thinking that they weren't that successful. And I always have to go with the price point of our product too. And I have to remind myself of that too, right? Because it's very different than what we were in previously. So I say, look at the price point. And so here's what you want to do. Have it set up nicely so it draws the eye in, right? So however, don't make it cluttered. Don't make it too busy because it just confuses the mind. This is and a
confused mind never buys.
No, it does not. It just kind of goes, whoa, that's a lot of stuff, and walks by.
Yeah, move along.
It's like, I don't even know what all that is.
Yes.
So just to make it pleasing to the eye, to be in front of your table, to welcome people, and not saying, hey, do you want to buy some leggings? But, to say, hey, how are you today? What brings you out? Or is there anything in particular you're looking for?
In a mastermind call last night, and I said, starting a starting a conversation with a compliment to the people when they walk by is also a great way, like, right? Like that, like for you, if you walk by my table, I would say you're wearing a beautiful scarf.
And that's exactly what, we say, like, give them a compliment, like, whether it's a scarf or it's like, oh, wow, I love your hair.
Yeah.
Or, oh, great boots you're wearing. I love those, because we're in the fashion, right?
A genuine compliment, right? A genuine compliment.
Yeah, yes, a genuine. It has to be genuine. So, when you do that, I mean, think of how it makes you feel when someone says, oh my gosh, I love your leggings. They feel the same way when you're complimenting them about their outfit they're wearing, whatever it is. So with that, and to greet them, stand out there, but just not attack them.
Mm-hmm.
Just to do conversation and to tell them a little bit about She's Got Legs, because most are willing to listen. Yeah. And to say, have everything ready there so you can take orders, or they can purchase. So, have your Square, whatever it is you need to make change.
Yeah. Is Square the main payment thing that you use? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I said, when you have those things, so you're ready, because some people may want to do credit cards, some may want to do e-transfer. So just make sure you're prepared to do all those things.
Yep.
And offer those services to them and say they can take them today. And, look at offering them an in-home party or an online party even,
further the relationship.
Yes, offer them those things, and also offer the invitation to come into your VIP group.
Mm-hmm.
So, because I said, when you're doing all these things and they're purchasing, it's not a one-time purchase, because if you get them into your VIP group or on your newsletter, then you are in front of them every month. Right.
That's right. They can become a forever customer.
Forever. And they can also bring their friends in. And that's what happens. I get these invitations, requests, and they're friends of friends.
Yeah.
So we want to build our audience. And so that's where a vendor event, if you work it, and to say, hey, I'd like to invite you into my group, and get them into the group, and, just say, invite your friends in. I always say, this is where you're going to find new things, because we have new things coming in every two weeks, twice a month. So there's always something new, even if there's not something there that you
have a little bit of a hook to why they should come and hang out in the group.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And to say, we do some fashion tips, and it's just a fun place, to hang out and learn more about our fashions and more about fashions in general.
Yeah. And I mean, if they're not on Facebook, then you also have your Instagram that they can follow along.
Yes, that's right. So they can go there, or I do have my newsletter, which sends out pictures as well. So they can have, they would receive that as well, because I do have some customers, that are not on social media. So that's fine. I go, okay, that's fine. Here's my website, and let's get you signed up for my newsletter. I get it, it goes out once a month.
Oh, and then they can get the new style drops.
Yeah, absolutely. So
I think that's so important though. Like, it's not just like, come join my group. You have to have that hook. Like, why is it that they're going to want the newsletter? Why is it that they want to follow you on Instagram or join your group? What are they going to get out of it?
Right. And it's keeping you up to date with what we have coming out and things that are happening, right? Yeah. Because they want value.
Yes, of course. They don't want to just be sold to.
No, exactly. So, so we do that, but also, so going back to the vendor event, so all these things will create a larger audience for them. So they have, maybe they only sell 2 pair of leggings. But they've told them about the business. They've given them, always take business cards. So they've given the business card, or 2 or 3, and they're wearing the leggings. Their friends are seeing the leggings. And that's quite often how someone will say, you know what, I think I'm going to do a party, or all my friends are asking where I got these.
Yes, that's a good point.
So it's all
about the sales, right? It's really about, honestly, I always used to say, like, if I sold enough to pay for my table, I'm going to call that a win. For me, it was how many people did I meet and bring into my world?
Exactly. So, and that's where I go with this too. It's not about how many you sold. You don't want the one-off sale.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's really, I mean, it's okay. Yeah. Pay for your table. But then you're looking for those people that you can connect with and stay connected with.
Yeah.
And, to have that audience that's going to see the clothes and possibly do a party. I mean, that's where the value is, not just that one day at the event. It's what comes from that later on.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, let's wrap this up with a leadership tip. Do you have a new tip for like maybe new leaders or somebody that is considering jumping into leadership?
I think when I started, it was like, I thought I needed to know everything. And I know they told me, no, you don't need to know everything, right?
But people often still believe that they do.
They do. And they don't want to sign anyone until they know. And you don't know till really you start signing people and you start working with them. But we're almost bringing it full circle to the conversation we started the episode with, right? Like you don't know what you don't know until you're actually working with someone. And you learn as you go along. So I made mistakes. I don't say mistake. Well, yeah, kind of mistakes. I consider them mistakes in how I worked with people, more managerial than leading. Of course. In the beginning, I always think that comes from a really good place, right? Because we want the most for everybody. We want everybody to see their potential. But I know for me as a leader in the beginning, that meant I pushed some people more than I maybe should have. Exactly. And they felt pressured. That's right. And that was never, ever my intent. My intent was like, you can be awesome at this. If I can do it, you can do it. So let's get you going. I'm going to give you all this information and let's go. And then, and they're like, oh my gosh, I can't. I'm going to go hide under a rock. It's like, oh no, she's on the phone again. I don't want to talk to her. So really, I think it's really important to look at each individual. I was the shy girl. So, if you look over me, I'm still here 30 years later, right? Yeah. But I was looked over at the time, but I know that now, and I look at everyone, and even if it needs to be on a one-to-one basis, it's like making everyone feel like they're part of a team. I mean, that's huge. Yeah. And creating something. Yeah. Yeah. Creating a group that, respects one another. Like you have this certain level of how you behave and treat others. So the respect that we have on Zooms in our groups and so on, and making everyone feel important, because, when I'm asked people, okay, you're not coming on the Zooms, like our team Zooms, like they're really great. The girls share information and you can, maybe you're not learning from me, but our team members, you can certainly learn from them. They have lots of great ideas, and it's always even spin-offs from that. So I want to make them feel included. And so when they say, well, you know what, I didn't do very much. I only did 200. Right. And some people hide behind the shame of maybe not hitting goals that they had, so they don't show up for that next level. Yeah. And they're embarrassed, right? When they see everyone else doing all this. And I say, every comparison game. They compare. And I said, this is not a comparison. This is, you're in this business to get out of it what you want to get out of it. If you're not getting that, then I need to know so I can help you get what you want and help direct you, not help you physically, but help direct you to do that. Yeah. And I always like to emphasize, every sale that we get each month goes towards our end result for that month. So you're all participating. Every sale matters. Every sale matters. Every sale is important. So I said, it doesn't matter if you do 200 this month. Next month, you might do 1,000, or next month, 500. But you're going to be building your business. That's okay. There may be a month that you can't do anything. That's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Life happens.
I love that. You see that happen a lot where people start to hang back, not because they don't want it, but because they feel like they haven't been doing enough or as much as everybody else.
And sometimes they feel overwhelmed. And the reason they feel overwhelmed is because they haven't been on any calls.
That's right.
So they just feel so far behind. And
the
it's
one reason that you feel overwhelmed is because you're trying to fit things into the cracks and you're not taking the time to really get the lay of the land.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. And so it's like, just start where you are here now. Mm-hmm. Start, get on the calls, and we have a booking calendar. So get your bookings on the calendar. And if you need help, we're here for you.
So would that be a piece of advice that you would give to anybody starting out in the company, is to go to those calls and, kind of go to what head office offers?
Absolutely. And what I keep reiterating this, is like, because I do record the calls. So people that can't make it can go in and listen to them later. But I like to just remind people that, coming on our calls, on our Zoom calls, even though they're recorded, when you are there in person, in real time, you feel a part of the team.
Different.
It's different. When you watch a recording, it's like being at a game and you're sitting in the bleachers.
Yeah.
So you're a spectator. Yeah. You don't feel you're watching, but you don't feel like you're a part of it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I love that. And you can't get your questions answered in real time and get any personalized support.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I think everyone needs to know that they also can contribute, right? Like, I always think I can learn something from someone that is selling $100 a month. I can learn something from somebody who's selling $10,000 a month, and both pieces of information can be equally as valuable.
Exactly. And I always say, even with people sharing information and experiences that they've had, that you may think, okay, I wouldn't do it this way, but it spurs an idea. Mm-hmm. So I said, even though, and the other thing too, is because our business is really repetitive, right?
Yes.
It's booking, sales, and recruiting.
Yeah.
So I said, even though you may hear something and you go, oh, she's talking about the same thing, you're going to pick up different things each time.
And it could be just the way somebody else says something.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because we all know that they'll go to a conference or something and they'll say, I didn't know that. Mm-hmm. And we think, oh my gosh.
I've said it 782 times.
I can't believe you didn't hear that. So that's where, it's just, and it is something you just have to keep reminding.
Yeah.
Right.
Really, really.
So it's an ongoing thing, but it's just helping everyone feel like they're important, they're included in the team effort, and to make it fun.
Yeah, love that.
It's got to be fun, because you want to have ideas swirling around, but laughs and to feel relaxed on a call, because that's
what keeps people in the business.
It does. And for lots, I won't say lots, but for many, it is the sisterhood that brings them in.
It is.
It's
or
not
at the very least, it's the surprise that's one of the greatest gifts.
Yes. And, I would say when I started, I was in it for the money. I wanted an extra stream of income because I had a full-time job. But then 30 years later, it's not the income, it's the people.
Yeah.
It's the relationships, that you don't want to let go of.
Of course. You can't imagine your life without these people.
Exactly. So that's what it makes it so valuable, and just the personal growth that you get from this.
Yeah. I wouldn't have got that if I hadn't come into this industry.
Yeah. And, Lori, the speakers that you get in this industry, I can't imagine, like, I had been to conferences for 30 years. Well, up until the past 2 years. So I'm super excited for this year. But those 2 years is like, you need that outside.
You do. You get, like you said, someone's going to say something, the same thing, but in a different way, and it hits home.
Yeah, and it's like
you have a really great speaker coming to your conference this year. I'm not quite sure who it is, but I hear she's great.
So, we've got a lot, and that's where I was promoting it, because people, if they've not been to a conference, they don't understand.
Yeah, there's a certain kind of energy at a conference.
Definitely. And, and for me, I know for all of my team, it's like, we need that energy, right?
You do. The togetherness and that perk up and the fire up and the way you feel when you come out of it, like you could take on the world and your dreams are bigger than they were before and all of that good stuff.
And that's what I just said to them today. Actually, I did a live talking about conference, and I said, when you leave, you will feel like you can take on the world. Yeah. I said, I promise you. So let's do this.
Make the effort.
And, and we had some great conferences the last 2 years, but it was online. It was a Zoom. So
yeah, it's more about learning when it's on Zoom, right? And when it's in person, it's about the energy in the room that everybody gets to calibrate to.
Exactly. Because everybody soaks it in, right?
Exactly. There's nothing like it.
Absolutely not.
Okay. I always ask leaders when they're on, do you have like a book or a podcast or certain resource that you could recommend? I know there's a lot of personal and business junkies that listen to the podcast.
So, you know what? And I tend to read books. I guess it's quieter because I'm online a lot.
Yep.
So I do listen to Belinda's podcast, Belinda Ellsworth. Yep. Mm-hmm. But here's one of my favorites. Winners and Whiners.
I love the title already.
Honestly, it's a quick read. So you can read it in 2 hours or less if you're a really fast reader. Wow. But what I love about this, it's like you learn a lot about yourself. Mm-hmm. And it's a book that you can just pick up, open, and that's what you need for that day, right?
Winners and Whiners. I love it.
Yeah, Winners and Whiners, Keith Cameron Smith. It says the top 10 distinctions between winners and whiners.
I think probably a lot of us would find some surprises inside that book.
Yes, I did. And, and it was kind of like, oh, check, I'm doing that. I got to stop. Whoops. How did I get into that? But, it's good too as a leader because it helps you see who on your team, like what's happening and actually how you can deal with it.
Very interesting.
And the other one, this one, the 4 agreements, of course, most of us know about that one, but
4 agreements. Yeah.
That's a good one too. But, and I have lots of other favorites too, Robin Sharma and Mel Robbins, the 5-second rule.
Oh, the 5-second rule is a game changer.
It is. Yeah. It's amazing.
It really is. I found that one coupled with the morning or the Miracle Morning. I was like, those two for me, I read them years and years ago as I was just starting up my business. And they were probably 2 of the most defining books in getting my business up off the ground.
Yeah. Yeah. It's whatever you connect to. And Robin Sharma, that was both of those, the ones that I've read of his, I probably have 2 or 3 of them. I found those very good. They were lessons learned.
Yes.
Without talking about my own personal business, it was like, kind of eye-opening.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much for today. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for inviting me on. I enjoyed it. Enjoyed speaking with you. It was a lot of fun.
Exactly. Thank you so much.